Pricing jewelry is quite a tricky subject for makers, and not just jewelers, but crafters in general. We tend to underprice, sometimes severely. Imposter syndrome? Yep, it's often a factor. Not feeling confident with our work, being scared of losing clients, not being sure when to raise our prices, what should they reflect, how to price fairly for both us and our customers, or simply being used to certain prices without taking into account the economy and how it changes and that we need to adapt to. So today I thought I could use some help from ChatGPT. There are tons of resources out there that can help you with pricing, different formulas, different strategies, and I will get to that in another video, but today I wanted to see how AI could help me with this task. I have my jewelry pieces right here. Some are bigger, some are smaller. I wanted to pick a variety. And also I have a little note right here with total cost of these pieces and the time it took me to make them. The information I would suggest for you to have handy so you can feed it into ChatGPT would be the total cost of your materials, the time it took you to make it, because you will determine with ChatGPT your hourly rate, or if you already know it, you can just give it that information. Any overhead cost, so that would be consumables, rent, anything that goes into making your jewelry, energy bills, all of that. And if you pay any taxes, that should also go into your prices. So anything you can think of, have that information ready before you start pricing your jewelry. So I think we're ready. Let's go. Hi, so it's the next day. I'm filming again because I lost the footage. Sometimes it happens. So you can pause now and read through the information that I fed to ChatGPT. It's about me, my experience, my skills, anything I could think of that I thought might be worth to mention in determining my hourly rate. This will be just a short segment about that. I had an hourly rate, but I suspected that it might be outdated. I might be paying myself too little, not thinking of, how economy changed and all of that. So I was curious to see how ChatGPT will help me with hourly rate. Okay, so ChatGPT came up with some key factors that we should take into account, like skill level and experience, artisan quality and process, market rates, expenses and cost of living adjustments, and value perception. Artisans at your experience level often set their rates anywhere from $30 to $80 per hour, depending on their market and uniqueness of their work. That's interesting. How do you feel about that? $30 to $80? I think that's definitely a price that is more common today after the inflation and all of the changes in economy, but it still feels a bit surprising for me, perhaps because of my mindset that I have been paying myself very little, especially when I first started, and then raising that rate was very tricky and difficult. Then we have artisan quality and process, slow made and handcrafted. Time spent on quality and detail is often recognized and appreciated by customers seeking more than just a piece of jewelry, but a piece of art. That's a very good point. Takeaway here, quality and uniqueness can justify a higher rate, especially since customers appreciate this in your work. Rates here often range from $45 to $90 per hour in artisan jewelry. Okay, and then we have market rates for comparable artisans. Generally, it ranges between $50 to $100 per hour and more. Then we have expenses and cost of living adjustments. Here, they suggest around $60 to $90 per hour. And value perception by customers. ChatGPT says that your ideal customers are often willing to pay for quality and originality, which supports a higher hourly rate. So the hourly rate that ChatGPT has given me is quite high. I'm not gonna lie, it does feel like a lot. So I'm gonna go with something a bit lower, but something that still feels like a lot to me. So I'm gonna go with $40 just to entertain it, see what it comes up with, and to make this exercise. So I'm going with $40 per hour. AI tools can be a tremendous help in your work, but it may feel scary and overwhelming to learn and keep up with this new field. That's why I want to introduce the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, which may come in handy in learning about AI. You may know Skillshare. It is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. There are some exciting improvements that Skillshare has announced, including 3 new class topics like creative careers, creative inspiration, and AI and innovation. In the class by Peggy Dean, ChatGPT for Creatives, AI-powered SEO, marketing, and productivity, you can learn how to write prompts and utilize it in your creative work. There are tons of classes that can help you in reaching your goals, even on jewelry making. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today! Let's start with the first piece, which is a very beautiful pendant necklace made with beautiful and one-of-a-kind Baltic amber, some citrine, made in sterling silver and fine silver. So I provided all of the information I could think of, including time it took me to make it, which was 6 hours, and $50 for materials. And I am choosing multiplier approach here. For example, ChatGPT has given me a choice. I could go with profit margin. So that's when you have your base price, all of materials, time, overhead, and tax calculated. Then on top of it, you would add 20%, and that's your profit. But multiplier approach, which I feel is more common in jewelry industry, it's when you are multiplying that amount by 2, for example, 2.2, 2.5. I'm gonna go with this one today. Let's see. ChatGPT broke down the calculation, made it step by step, and came up with the price for this necklace, which is $738. I used to sell very similar pendants for, I think, between 300 to 400 something, so like almost a half of this price. Now, what do you think? Do you think that's a lot? Or is it a fair price for a necklace like this? I would really love to hear your thoughts. To me, this feels like a lot. Obviously, I did price my necklaces much lower than that, but perhaps this is what I should price it. Next is the statement turquoise ring. You know, also made with sterling and fine silver, with beautiful natural Sonoran gold, turquoise gemstones, and Baltic amber in the middle. And the price ChatGPT has given me is $701. Again, very high price. Actually, right now, this ring is priced at $282, so a massive difference. What do you think about these two prices? 282 or 700? I think 700 is quite a lot, but perhaps I should redo my pricing and this ring could cost a bit more. I don't think I'm getting my money back by pricing it at 282. I think that might be too little. Okay, now we have Ethiopian opal ring. This Ethiopian opal is not a thin slice. It's actually a thicker, very nice gemstone, cabochon, and it has gorgeous flash. You cannot see it in photos, but it's beautiful. And usually these rings, I always felt like they have to cost less because they are smaller. But on the other hand, small things are trickier to make. make. Yeah, the materials were $44. It took me 2 hours to make it. Probably more, but again, I don't remember exactly, so let's just go with 2 hours. And the final price by ChatGPT is $329. And right now, this ring costs $176 on my site. I felt like I priced it correctly, but after actually thinking about the cost of materials, overhead, tax, everything that I have to pay first to make it, I realized that again, this price is probably too little. We're not talking about profit here. Definitely not enough to sustain me and reinvest in the business, because that's also what prices are about. It's not just, to get as much as possible from other people's pockets. It is about running a business and growing that business, improving your skills and therefore improving your work and your designs, and as a result being able to offer more special and unique designs and jewelry to your customers. So it is a process, and reinvesting money into your business is a huge part of running a business, offering quality and value. Then we have this dendritic agate necklace, and the chain and jump rings are gold vermeil, and underneath there is some granulation made with solid gold, 18 carats. ChatGPT thinks it should cost $410, and right now this necklace is $238. So almost half that price. I should probably rethink it. That's very interesting. Again, really curious to hear what you think. Do you think 238 is a right price for a necklace like this, or would you price it higher? Now we have this moonstone necklace. It's a very nice flashy moonstone, very good quality. It's set in fine silver. There are some details here. $26.54 materials, and it took me, let's say, 2 hours to make. I don't remember exactly. And ChatGPT wants to price it at $286. And to compare, right now it is priced at $199. I think these prices are definitely much closer to each other than other examples. And I think price around $200 is quite appropriate for a necklace like this. Now, moving on to this ring, I have a whole video on YouTube that shows step by step how this ring was made. So to me, that adds value. And it's a nice addition to the jewelry piece that you own, that you have a video that shows you exactly how it was made. It's a ring in sterling silver with gold, solid gold bezel and handmade flowers. And the materials were $57, and it took me around 3.5 hours to make. Actually, the time here is an estimate because I was filming while I was making it, so I went with 3.5. I think that's closer to what it would actually take if I were to make it from start to finish in one go. And ChatGPT came up with the price of $509. And I actually feel like this is fair, that it feels good, this price. I haven't priced this ring myself yet, so I have nothing to compare it with, but I think around $500 for sterling silver ring and solid gold bezel and a really lovely gemstone is pretty fair. Let's move on to another example. This butterfly ring, it's a statement ring. It's my original signature design, which I used to make in 2 butterfly wings and some gemstones on top of it, usually tourmaline, moonstone and opal. The materials were $27 and time to make 5 hours. Our assistant here claims it should be $583. And I used to sell that ring with 2 butterfly wings for probably around $280. Up to 300, let's say. Then we have another signature design of mine, which is this manta ray pendant. It's called Graceful Guardian. I stamp it, I add some details. There's a gemstone inside. It's 2 layers. It takes me about 3 hours to make and almost $25 for the materials. It should cost, according to our assistant here, $380. And I used to sell this pendant for $172. I already can see that I was underpricing it because 172 hardly covers the materials and overhead and tax, not to mention my time and obviously the value of this necklace. Interesting to see that. So for me right now, it's not even the price that ChatGPT comes up with, it's that comparison between that price and what I've been pricing. I can see that I have been underpricing. I'm really curious, what are your thoughts right now? What do you feel regarding your own jewelry? Does this open your eyes a little bit? Give you some ideas? I hope it does. I hope it does, because that's why I'm making this video. This is a nephrite necklace. It's set in fine silver. There's also sterling silver. It took me around 2 hours to make. The materials were $26.50. There's a solid gold little bowl as a decoration, and ChatGPT says $286. I actually do feel like it's a fair price. Now we have a saddle ring, also called shield ring, with very lovely amethyst, a lot of details, handmade flowers, all of that. The silver sheet was a bit thicker. The materials were $42 and time to make about 3 hours. Again, I have a video step by step showing this ring being made on my channel, and it should cost $423. To compare, right now it's $247 on my site. So $247, but it should be $423. Interesting. And if multiplier is too much, I went with profit margin, and that's 20% of profit on top of the cost and everything. And it's still way more than I priced. So that's definitely eye-opening. I hope this exercise was useful for you. I would suggest you do the same. Write down materials and time for your pieces. Go on to ChatGPT and follow the same structure that I did. First, tell ChatGPT what you're going to be doing. So, that you would like to price your jewelry, you want them to help you with the pricing, then introduce everything about yourself that you want to tell ChatGPT. So, all of the relevant information, and also if you don't have an hourly rate, you can also say that first you would like to determine the hourly rate for you and then decide on overhead costs. You also have to remember to tell ChatGPT where you're from, and it'll know the tax you're paying, or you can just tell it that. Also, remember to ask ChatGPT to not hallucinate results, not make mistakes, and be precise, because some results I had to double check with ChatGPT because for some reason it made mistakes, and I asked why there are discrepancies between these prices if it's exactly the same for the exact same jewelry piece, that it made mistake. And I said, okay, so you have to be precise now and don't make mistakes. And then ChatGPT actually boils down everything and gives you step-by-step calculations and makes sure that it's correct. It's crazy that you have to remember that, but it is what it is. It's still just technology, it develops, it evolves. So it says even on here, ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. So yeah, remember to do that. So these are my suggestions when it comes to pricing your jewelry for today, but there are still several approaches which I will love to cover with you. So stay tuned for next parts about pricing. And I would love to have a discussion with you in the comments below, so make sure you drop a comment. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.